So our original function is g of x is 1/3 x plus 4. I want the inverse. And now you can change up letters. It doesn't always have to be f. I want to try to keep reminding you that by exposing you to different setups. The rule is, ladies, guys, swap the x and the y. So if this is my original function, y equals 1/3 x plus 4, then the inverse would be x equals 1/3 y plus 4. I just have the x and the y trade places. And then once I've done that, I have to get the y by itself now. Because I've got this new equation to solve. Here's my original function. Replace the g of x with y. Here's my new, I'm trying to find the inverse, so I swap those x's and y's over. Write it down. Now I'm going to try to get y all by its lonesome. I'm going to solve for y. So how do I get y by itself? Okay, subtract 4 from each side. So that gives me x minus 4 equals 1/3 y. That's 1/3 times y. So what's the key to get rid of that fraction? I got two choices. I can divide by 1/3, or since it's fraction, times by the reciprocal, which is 3. Generally with fractions, guys, it's a lot safer to multiply by the reciprocal. You'll save yourself headache later. You can do the decimal as long as you're real diligent about watching your rounding and making sure you don't leave stuff off and write answers of like 10.99999 when it really should be 11. That's what happens when students do too much with decimals. So I want to multiply each side by the reciprocal. Now I also have to make sure I distribute over here. A lot of students will forget to do that part too. I'm left now with 3x minus 12 equals y. So that means that the inverse, start that over, the inverse of x is 3x minus 12. So the original and the inverse. Now the last part of this is to do a check. Make sure this worked. If it worked, then if I put a number in for x, I'll get a number out for g. And then I can go ahead and do the same thing in the inverse, but backwards. And I should get the same result each time. So let's go ahead and let's pick a number, plug it in there. Let's do 6. G of 6. I made the 6, just pick 6 kind of at random. So I put it in there, and that gives me an answer of 2 plus 4 is 6. That was a lousy choice. No? You know, I'm going to do another one because I don't like that choice. Let's do G of 3. You don't have to write them both down. 1 plus that is 5. So G of 3 is 5. Now the reason I did that is I want to, as part of my check, right, you can pick any number you want for your check. Oh, the 5? 3 times a third is 1, plus 4 is 5. Now, as part of my check, I have to say, well, what happens when I put 5 into the inverse? Do I get 3? And that's why I didn't like doing the 6 and 6, is I didn't want you guys to get confused which ones go in as part of the check. So now I do g negative 1 of 5. So 3 times 5 minus 12, that's 15 minus 12 is 3. So g of 3 equaled 5. The inverse of 5 equaled 3. That means it checks out. Do you have to do the check on every problem? No. But I want to keep reminding you of what this inverse represents. It means you wrote an equation that undoes what the first equation did. This equation takes a 3 and it generates a 5. the inverse takes a 5 and returns it to the state of being a 3.